Okay. I believe it is recording. I wrote key instead of my name. That's what sometimes I write. Okay, it's second hour right now. Okay, we are factoring for the rest of this unit. Today, we are factoring out the greatest common factor of a polynomial. Greatest common factor we can abbreviate to GCF. We just talked about greatest common factors when we talk about numbers. So the GCF is the largest monomial that each term in a polynomial can be divided by. So we just talked about essentially the coefficient parts of what coefficient we're going to be able to divide at. So on all of those problems on your quick write, we would be able to divide out that greatest common factor. Your common factor for a polynomial, though, might have two parts. You might have one, you might have the other, you might have both. So the coefficient is what we just went over. What is the biggest number you can divide all of the coefficients by evenly? Okay? Then the next part is the variable in the exponent. And that is going to be how many x's can each term give you. You can only take out as many x's as the term with the least number of x's. Because we're in standard form, that'll always be the last term. So however many x's the last term has will be how many x's you can pull out. Once we figure out what the greatest common factor is, we will divide the coefficients and we will subtract the exponents because we're dividing them out. That's the quotient rule to subtract your exponents. Okay, now I've got a little note here. Factoring out the GCF is the exact opposite of multiplying in 5.3 where we multiplied something in. So in 5.3, we multiplied something in. We distributed it in. Today, we're going to figure out what can I undistribute? What can I pull out of everything? So it's 2 steps. Figure out what we can divide everything by, and then pull it out. Any questions about what we are doing today? Okay, moving down then. My first problem. I've got 21x to the 6 minus 12x to the 5th plus 15x to the 3rd. The first thing that we have to do is figure out what we can divide 21, 12, and 15 by. What can we divide all of those by? 3. Awesome. I agree. I like to look at a number that is either smallest or easiest to factor. So like right here I see 15, and I know 15 is divisible by 1 and 15, 3 and 5. And I can look at these other numbers and say, I can't divide those by 15 or 5. Take out your headphone. I can't divide those by 15 or 5, but can I divide by 3? Yes, I can. So, from there now, we need to look at our x's. We've got x to the 6th, x to the 5th, x to the 3rd. Which one has the least? The x to the 3rd. So we can pull out x to the 3rd. So our greatest common factor here is 3x to the 3rd. That's the most challenging part of today, is figuring out what to divide everything by. Any questions about that? Hey. Then we are going to put that 3x to the 3rd in front of a set of parentheses because we are undistributing it. So we need to have it set up like it's about to be distributed. So we put it out in front of the parentheses, and then we are going to divide our coefficients and subtract our exponents. So 21 divided by 3 is going to be 7. And then we subtract our exponents. 6 minus 3 is 3. So I've got 7x to the 3rd power. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. And then we subtract our exponents. 5 minus 3 is 2. x squared. Please stop writing on my calculator. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Since it's plus, we put plus. And then 3 minus 3 is none. We do not have any x's left. So all of the x's have been factored out. Okay. Any questions about that first one? Okay. Let's move on then. Next one, we've got 6x to the 5th minus 18x squared plus 6x. Let's go ahead and put our imaginary 1 on there. I think it's going to help us. Okay. What can I divide 6, 18, and 6 all by? 6. So I can divide all of those by 6. Then I have x to the 5th, x squared, and x to the 1st. I can only take however many the last one has, so I'm going to be able to pull out x to the 1st. So my greatest common factor here is 6x to the 1st. Hey, any questions? All right, so let's factor it out then. Let's put 6x to the 1st in front of my parentheses. Okay, 6 divided by 6 is 1. You can put a 1 there if you would like. And then we subtract our exponents. 5 minus 1 is 4. So I've got 1x to the 4th, or you could just put x to the 4th. Negative 18 divided by 6 is negative 3. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So I get x to the 1st there. And then right here, this is a little confusing. 6 divided by 6 is 1. And then 1 minus 1 is none. There's no x's left. Right here, I still need a plus 1. Because 6x to the 1st divided by 6x to the 1st is going to leave us a 1. You have to have a term there. All right. Any questions right now? All right. Let's look at our next one. We've got 16x to the 3rd plus 24. What can we divide 16 and 24 both by? 8. Okay, so we can divide those both by 8. As you are working through these, if you divide by something and then you look and it looks like it's still divisible by something, maybe you pulled out a common factor but not the greatest common factor. Okay, then we've got x to the 3rd here. How many x's do we have here? None. So how many x's can this one give us? None. So our greatest common factor here is just 8. We are just dividing out 8. So 16 divided by 8 is 2. And then I still have my x to the 3rd. And then 24 divided by 8 is 3. Okay, any questions about that? Hey, last one. What can we divide 7 and 5 both by? What can we divide 7 by? 1 and 7. What can we divide 5 by? 1 and 5. So what can we divide both 7 and 5 by? Just 1. Does dividing out a 1 do us any good? No. So we're not even going to divide out a coefficient there. This one is just going to have a variable and exponent part. How many x's can I take out? 2. I can take out x squared because that's what this one has. So on this one, my GCF is just x squared. So I've got x squared here. Okay. So this is going to stay 7. I subtract my exponents. 4 minus 2 is 2. So 7x squared. And then 5x squared, divide out the x squared, I still have my 5. No more x's. Okay, finish writing. Set your pencil down and look up here. Do not glue yet. Finish writing. Set your pencil down and look up here. I want to show you guys some stuff that's going to help you find your own errors on your assignment. Okay, we all done writing? All right, and I want to do it here so that people who are watching back the video can still see this stuff. All right, what do you notice about this, 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 and this? Does anyone see any patterns? Michaela. It's all the exponents from the last one. It's the same as this, this, none, and this. Because we are in standard form, your last term will have the least number of x's, so you are able to take all of the x's that the last one has. All right, my next question. What do you notice about this, 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 and this? They're all numbers. What? They're x-less. That's really hard to say. None of them have an x left. Why don't any of them have an x left? Because we took them, okay? So, it's up to you to figure out what the GCF is. But as long as what you have is in standard form, the variable and exponent part will be whatever the last guy has. Any questions? Okay, the other thing, there's 3 terms here. There's 3 terms in parentheses. 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2. So however many terms you have will be how many terms should be left in your binomial or trinomial. Oh, and then I remember the one other thing I was going to say. I knew there was something else. If you want to check them real quick in your head, multiply. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. 3 plus 2 is 5. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 plus 9 is 3. So you can just like multiply them back out to check yourself. Any questions? Okay, glue those in now. Okay, how do I stop video? Where is video stop? And